I was always skeptical of this tip, and when I decided to start doing print provider reviews here on YouTube, I thought it'd be a good test to include. Essentially, the answer to the question, is it better to use off-white than true white, then the answer is no, in my opinion and based on the test prints I've received. This theory makes perfect sense when you understand how direct-to-garment printing works, and this only applies to dark fabrics, by the way. After the pre-treatment is applied to the shirt, the design is then printed as completely white. This is the underbase. Then the colours are added on top of that. So the theory is that if you use a slightly off-white colour, then you'll not only get the white underbase, but you'll also get a second layer of this slightly off-white on top, which should make your whites look better. It makes perfect sense really. However, the reality is that it usually just makes your whites look dull, or just doesn't make a difference at all. I'll show you on screen now every print test I have, and you'll see that using an off-white doesn't seem to make a difference, and sometimes does actually make your prints look worse. I've researched this quite a bit to try and understand this better and to hopefully educate others. It got very complicated very quickly, and I just want to say I've never used a direct-to-garment printer or the software that goes with it, so I might get a few things wrong here. So if you're a professional printer, please correct me if you see me saying or understanding something wrong. I'm very happy to be corrected. There isn't just one thing that makes one print better than the other. There's multiple steps involved in making a direct-to-garment print look good. This doesn't just apply to the white ink, it also applies to the whole print, but this video is about the white ink, so we'll stick with that. The first thing that affects white ink quality is simply the cost. From what I understand, white ink is more expensive than all the others, so some printers will reduce the flow of white ink to reduce the amount of white ink used, therefore reducing their costs. This then results in a crappy looking white print, depending on how much they reduced it by, that is. Alternatively, they could also be reducing their costs by using a cheaper, poorer quality white ink. Another issue I saw being discussed online regarding white ink is that it can separate if stored for a long time, and if the ink isn't correctly mixed, will result in a light grey print instead of white. The other major thing that affects the end result of a white print is the pre-treatment, the quality of the pre-treatment and the amount of pre-treatment used. Firstly, you need to understand what pre-treatment is and what it does. I'll pop a graphic on screen now. Basically, this is a cross-section of a shirt. The black circles are the cotton fibres. The pre-treatment is shown in blue. So essentially, the job of pre-treatment is to fill in the gaps in between the fibres of the fabric, which then creates a smooth surface to print on. This also stops the ink being absorbed by the fabric. If you didn't use this, a lot of the ink would get absorbed by the fabric, and you'd get a very dull, muddy looking print. Again, pre-treatment has a cost, so some printers will reduce the amount they use, which sometimes will allow the fabric underneath to show through more, or will allow more ink to be absorbed by the fabric, therefore creating a dull looking or patchy looking white print. The pre-treatment also reacts with the white ink, but that's just so you can print the colours on top right away. Finally, the last thing that affects the end result of your print, and this one actually surprised me, but it is obvious when you think about it, and this is your fabric choice. If we take a look at this image here, you can clearly see the difference. Normal cotton is on the left, homed and ring spun cotton is on the right. Because normal cotton is fibrous, when printed on will cause your graphic to look messy or blurry, but ring spun cotton doesn't have those fibres, so the end result is a cleaner, sharper print, which should make your white ink look less patchy. So in summary, to get the best looking white print, you need to do the following. 1. Use true white. Don't bother with using an off-white, they can make things look worse. 2. Find a good printer that uses high quality ink and doesn't skimp out on the quantity of ink used. 3. Use the correct type of fabric. Stick with combed and ring spun cotton for best results. Number 4. Out of everything here, pre-treatment seems to be the biggest factor in the end result of your print. It is essentially the foundation of your print. A proper application of pre-treatment will help yield better results for any white ink direct-to-garment printer. So again, you need to find a high quality printers who know what they're doing. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, please leave a like as it helps your channel out a lot. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.
2020年代後半に人類が直面した経済問題は金融システムを崩壊させ、世界の秩序は乱れた。これにより、地球の民間人はさらに大企業に依存するようになった。今こそ自分で収入を生み出す方法を学ぶ時だ。手遅れになる前に企業システムから抜け出し、独自のビジネスを構築しよう。ecommerce.com/ニュースレターにアクセスして、インサイダーの知識、ヒント、及びオンデマンド印刷ビジネスの開始方法と運営方法に関する無料コースにアクセスしましょう。将来後悔することはないでしょう。